I sense something elusive.
Stay a while and listen. Well met.
You are not prepared.
This better be good.
Existence is mysterious.
Loud and clear.
Hello there.
Greetings, traveler, and welcome to the Blue Recluse.
Welcome to episode 212 of The Blue Recluse. My name is Martin Larsen, and you're listening to the podcast about everything Blizzard. It's Sunday, and it's the November 18th, 2018. And with me today as a special guest this month. Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Hello, I'm back. Thought I'd pop into the Blue Recluse, pour myself a drink, and talk some Blizzard games with you guys on this Blizzard game podcast.
Let's talk about Blizzard games on this Blizzard game podcast.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. That would make a lot of sense. Someone who makes a lot of sense too, usually. Oh, he does here. He's not here today. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing well. I don't know how to feel this morning as of right now, but let's just get into it. Let's do it.
all right. We took a week off because we didn't really know what to talk about last week because we were busy leveling our characters in Diablo 3.
I thought it was because I wasn't there again, and you guys had just completely derailed without me, and you didn't know. We can't do any more shows about Tom.
I thought we agreed not to talk about that, but sure. So
I didn't sign nothing. I didn't sign anything.
How are you doing, Tom? How are we doing? Where are you in the world? What is the temperature? And is there bacon? Actually,
I can answer all those questions. I am in Florida in the United States of America. So right now there's, the Blue Recluse power play is in effect with 2 members on American soil. The temperature is about 28 degrees. And there was bacon because I just had breakfast before the show. I did not partake in the eating of bacon, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, there you go. That's my life story. You're all up to date. There we go. We can go forward again.
We can move forward. All right, let's jump straight into something a little bit house cleaning. I think we mentioned 2 weeks ago that there were some shady shenanigans going on with Blizzard deleting dislikes on the YouTube and stuff like that. That's been a lot of talk back and forth, and so many stories about the same thing, and nobody really knows anything. But as it turns out, it seems like it is some YouTube shenanigans and not some Blizzard shenanigans.
Yep.
So
that's what the envelope I got through the door with a check told me to say, and that is definitely true. It's all YouTube's fault. All YouTube's fault.
It is something along the lines of if you have multiple accounts and you dislike them on all the accounts, then what YouTube does is it actually knows that you have multiple accounts, so it will those 10 dislikes or whatever will turn into 1 dislike.
I can believe that because there was a big campaign of people in the comments like make more accounts, make more YouTube accounts, go on all your accounts and dislike this. So I can see that. I can see why that potentially was removing some numbers. It's still pretty high though. It's still pretty high right now.
I think it's like the 3rd highest dislikes on a YouTube video in the life of YouTube. So that's pretty impressive.
I would kill for that. I would kill.
That is pretty impressive. I mean, if our videos got that much dislike, that would be amazing.
I know.
It means that we meant it. We made it, not meant it. It means that we made it. Well, maybe we also meant it. I don't know. So yeah.
Something to aim for, Marty. Right? Something to aim for.
That is something to aim for, exactly. So yeah, dislike this video if you're watching on YouTube.
Come on, we're almost there.
You can do it, community.
So yeah, I mean, we could probably talk a lot about Diablo and Diablo Immortal, and I don't really feel like we want to. There's so many videos out already. There's a whole Reddit board just full of less positive less positivity out there. We don't really want to add to that too much. But I think there's a few things that we do have sort of just at least touch on a little bit. Blizzard came out and said that all their best developers are working on mobile titles for all their IPs right now, which is both yay and nay, in my opinion. I know that's that at least Michael and I we've talked a little bit about it off camera and off anything recording.
Oh, too many swear words.
I mean, I think you, Michael, were saying that's a good thing because that means that the mobile games might turn out great then if the best developers are working on it, and that's a good point that I agree with. But also, there's a lot of that, like BFA, for instance. Everybody knows that it's been in a bleak state. So it also feels a little bit like weird, this comment, because hey, if all your best developers are working on mobile, what about their old titles? Maybe, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who want those to be fixed first, right? At least that's sort of like the camp that I'm in as well.
Okay, so I kind of took the approach, obviously, as you already said, I was trying to look at the bright side of it, in the sense of Blizzard saying that they have their best developers. First of all, a company is not going to tell you, hey, we have the B team working on the mobile game, so you all are good to go.
They just said that.
They said, but first of all, Blizzard's such a large company that what does it really mean when it's not like they took their top grade developers from every single team and were like, hey, stop trying to fix the Azerite system and come over here really quick. We need to create Warcraft Mobile. I don't think that that's the situation that's going on. I get what people are saying, as in, like, why are you taking resources away from these games that still need some work? Like, World of Warcraft has some issues that still need work. That's assuming that no one else on the team has any idea what's going on. Also, the issues that World of Warcraft is having, I don't think are issues that they're actively, like, yes, they're trying to fix it, but in terms of, like, taking a developer away from it, I don't think that in the grand scheme of things, like, that is a big issue. Because they have an idea of what they want to do, and it's a team. It's not just, like, a few people here and there. If you take Ian Hazakassis away, someone else is going to fill the role. Now, even if you do, it's not like that one person is going to suddenly change everything. I think that's
exactly what
I think the only one person that can really change, like, everything is the writer. Christy Golden, for example. I think she has more power than probably any single developer, because she actually controls what is being put out there in terms of story content. I think that has a bigger impact if one person was to be taken away than taking a single developer away. But obviously, I don't know how these things work. I could just be pulling it out of nowhere and just saying whatever to try to make myself feel better about it. But personally, I think that the climate right now around Blizzard as a whole is not very positive. I prefer to look at it on a positive side, and people can call me a fanboy or whatever.
Fanboy.
But guess what? I could care
Fanboy.
less what other people say, because I'm having fun in BFA. I'm having fun progressing in Heroic. I'm enjoying the things that I do, and I'm actually enjoying myself across the board every time I jump into a Blizzard game. And you can hate on it all you want. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think how I'm feeling right now is because I've really dived into everything Blizzard related and everything Diablo related, and been consuming every YouTube video and every Reddit post that has been there just to see what's going on, what people is feeling, and to me, and what I think a lot of people are feeling right now is that we have always perceived the Blizzard as being, you know, players first and investors after the players. That's, at least, I think all of us know that that's not really the truth, but that's how it's been perceived.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of us we all know that it's a company. They need to make money. That's how it works. That's how companies work. So it's not a big surprise there. But I feel like this is the first time that I've experienced that I've really noticed that that oh, I'm not the center of the universe anymore.
Sorry to burst
I'm
your
not a
bubble.
yeah, I'm not a special little snowflake anymore. No, I really feel like you can feel it when you hear everybody talking about Diablo Immortal. Everybody's saying the same keywords, multiple Diablo projects, all those same phrases. Everybody at Blizzard is saying those words, so it feels like that somebody is controlling the narrative like strictly.
Hmm.
And I mean, I've felt it a little bit when it comes to BlizzCon and Q and A's, because it's so obvious that the questions, when they started screening the questions a few years ago, it's so obvious when it happened. But I mean, it didn't shatter the whole image. But I really feel like seeing how they have what they have been talking about and what they have been saying afterwards, and the keyword. It's the first time where I feel like they to me feel like a company where that wants to make money, and I think that's what I think that's one of the things a lot of people are picking up on right now.
I think it's. I mean, yeah, there's definitely with these events, it's made us maybe look at Blizzard a bit closer with certain aspects, and it's no denying that there is some quite nefarious tactics in the gaming world to generate revenue. Um, I mean, I still think deep down it comes down to the order of how everything has been announced. So, for example, if we had heard BlizzardCon say, "Yeah, we're working on multiple mobile games for our titles," but say they'd done this before BlizzCon, people are like, "Ooh, that's really interesting. What are we gonna see?" And we kind of expected that that's probably the case anyway. And then maybe you go to BlizzCon and like the Diablo Immortal is just not the only thing that gets announced there. And I guess they were probably put into a hole because last year they didn't have anything for Diablo. And I mean, we don't know what's going on there because we'll probably talk about it very shortly about Diablo 3 again and how that's. I mean, that is still a great game. It's still a good game, and it still seems to capture people. And you can take a break from that and get back into it. And alongside that being released on the Switch, you almost felt like, oh, could this be feel good times for Diablo 3 again? And there's just this weird negative energy everywhere, and we're all reading about this negative energy, and it's bringing like everyone down to kind of feeling not good about Blizzard, I think, because I'm kind of feeling that I'm reading so much stuff and I don't know what's true anymore, and you're just reading these like spontaneous reactions, and as much as you're like, no, I don't really agree with what that person's saying, it has an impact when it's everyone's saying things and you're like, what how do I actually feel about this? Like I don't know how I feel anymore because I've read that many different opinions from other people that I'm suddenly thinking that's how I feel, but wait, I need to stop and go, actually, how do I feel? And that it's just so easy to get into that bubble where you're just you don't know what you're upset about. And I think that's probably how a lot of people have fallen into this as well, because it's so easy to do.
Yeah, I have to agree with you 100% there, because I mean, right in the beginning, I just started following everything, like the whole conversation, and all of a sudden I realized that I was not just reading it, I was part of it all of a sudden. I was hating Blizzard. I went from loving the company to hating it, and I was like, whoa, what happened? I mean, I sometimes I do disagree with the decisions and stuff like that, but going from like 180 degrees around, so I think that was part of why I didn't want to do a show last week as well. I needed to take a step back and not just make another like there's so many negative videos or comments out there right now about Blizzard and about Diablo, and I didn't want to just be another adding to that, because I wasn't sure if that was how I felt. And I think having this another week to think everything through and see what's actually going on out there. That's not how I feel. I'm still a little bit worried, but I also on like over here is sitting a voice that is a little bit worried, and over here is sitting another voice on the other shoulder that is like, hey, Blizzard, you know how they are. I don't think they will do like horrible things to like just maybe thinking about the monetization of the mobile game, for instance. I don't think they will go down that route because it's Blizzard. That's not how they do, right?
I mean, who's to say anymore? And Alessandra's kind of talking about it in chat that there's always been that stigma attached with like Activision now, and that we've definitely seen a change in how Blizzard operate and certain aspects, and how much of that is actually like Blizzard and Activision, and how much is that them just maybe reacting to the gaming market and where they need to be, and albeit not putting the consumer first, because ultimately you still need to consider your consumer with every decision you make, and very often that's not the case when companies do make a decision. They're like, okay, they're looking at all these points, but then suddenly like, well, what about the players? And that's probably so many different meetings where they forget about the needs of the player as well. And I'm not saying that Blizzard are totally in the wrong and the player base is totally right, because we've seen there's just some areas on probably both ends that need work. But then at the same time, it's like, well, they can't really say this to the player base because the player base are going to take it this way, and then they're going to think this. It's definitely weird when it comes to communicating. I mean, we all as human beings have issues communicating sometimes all we need to say to somebody is this thing, and for some reason we don't do it, and then later down the line, like, well, if only you just said that, we wouldn't be in this mess. And that's how it can work in business as well, because it's communication. And I think there's definitely been a breakdown with that somewhere along the lines, maybe internally, and that's affected us externally as well. But ultimately, we don't know, because we are not in that company. We don't know how it all exactly works. But there is no like quick fix to this whole Diablo thing as well, because you're seeing people like, we need an announcement in the next week saying that Diablo 4 is coming, or Diablo 2. It's like, it's not going to work like that. If you're going on the Diablo subreddit every day and pressing F5 and waiting, like,
that's what
waiting for that like band-aid, and you're probably not going to get that this year. I mean, I know there's like a new Diablo 3 season on the way, but you're not going to get this instant knee-jerk reaction straight from BlizzCon. Go, oh yeah, well, yeah, we do have Diablo 4. We do have it. We just didn't want to tell you about BlizzCon for some reason.
No. They have multiple Diablo projects. That's what they have. They don't have Diablo 4. They have multiple Diablo projects.
Multiple Diablo 4 projects, yes.
All right. Michael seems like he's about to fall asleep about this conversation, so let's maybe move on.
We're beating a dead horse here. We really are.
No, like my only thing is that people would have been unhappy, I think, either way. And here's why. Because if they had just put up a logo or something saying D4, then guess what? The discussion would have turned to why they just put up a logo? Why didn't they show any gameplay? And then they're going to fall into the Diablo 3 trap of we put something up too early and then we didn't show it again for another 4 years or whatever. And then people are upset that it took that long. They pigeonholed themselves due to some PR mistakes. I think that's what it all comes down to, is the PR. That's all it comes down to for me. And all of these people that are suddenly starting to make all of these connections to like this conspiracy, like, oh my god, it's not the company we once knew. There's your key word in there, company. A company wants to make money regardless. If you think that the company never wanted to make money and they always sat down and they were like, we can't do that thing to make money because our players will be unhappy, then I don't know what world you're living in, because I'm pretty sure there are still people there that are discussing things about the players. Like, obviously there's some disconnect somewhere in there. That's not no one's not saying that. I do believe that, like, there's some sort of disconnect there where they're not relating to the player base as they once were able to. But their player base is now not just spread across 3 games. It's spread across so many different ones, and they have to try to balance all of those. I don't know. The whole argument it gets me upset about this whole. It's not the company we once knew, and obviously, like, it probably was a little bit different, but like Tom said, the gaming landscape has changed since 2007, since 2010, since 2012. It's changed a lot. And if you think that they're not going to change because of that, then I don't know what is wrong with you.
I mean, yeah, when you look at what a lot of the bigger companies doing, many times I find myself sitting here going, yeah, I don't really agree with that. EA, Ubisoft, I don't really agree with what you're doing here. If I don't agree with something, like, I don't feel the need to instantly go somewhere and put my caps lock on and be like, brr, 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 bah, bah, bah.
No.
It's like, no, I'll make a decision with myself to go, no, I don't agree with this. I'm not giving you money for this.
But all those
And-
text messages I received from you with all caps lock, what are they about then?
Well, I mean, that's a totally different subject. But, you know, I mean, we're individuals. We have our own minds that we can look at something and go, is this value to me? Like, there's people in Warcraft for years that have been spending like X amount of dollars on mounts. I've always sat there and gone, I would never do that. I'd see, that's crazy to me that people would do that. And people have done that.
Yeah,
People
so
have
crazy.
people have done that. People have supported that system. And if these systems weren't supported and players were that much, you know, up in arms about it, I mean, there's always been complaints about, oh, well, this mount should have been in game anyway, and we shouldn't have to buy that. But people still do it. People still buy the pets. People still buy the mounts. People still contribute to that. And
Crazy people.
when there's people out there doing that, you have to kind of go, well, have I been part of the problem as well? Because we are in this changing landscape, and I'm not saying it's all the player base's fault. I'm not saying it's all Blizzard's fault, and I'm not dividing up who is the most to take the blame here. But it's not just this black and white argument, because everything's evolving, everything is changing, and companies are adapting to that. And whether they're doing it right is another question. That's just the way it is right now. But I like the way we can just sit here and talk about this. You know, we're cool. Our blood pressure is what's my heart rate at? 99. So it's rising a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay. We're still...
I'm cool. I'm only at 71. 72. It's rising. 72.
Oh, it's rising.
Yeah.
Don't you have a phone? Okay, so make it rise.
I wanted to finish it up with, I think it was either Marty or Dusty that talked about this, but it's as simple as this: if you don't agree with it, then don't support it.
Yeah.
Don't buy it. Don't play it. If you don't like the direction that World of Warcraft is playing or going, then don't play it. Like, it's simple. Like, just don't play it. And I don't know, it's, to me, if you don't like Diablo Immortal, then if it's not for you, we get it. Like, you can voice your opinion, that's okay. But I don't know, I don't think that quality is being lost in any of the games that I'm playing, because I actually am enjoying the games that I'm playing, and I think it's a quality product.
In regards to Diablo Immortal, like, we don't know how that's gonna play out. Like,
we don't know anything, and neither does the developers.
Yeah, exactly.
Developers,
Which is kind of worrying. But
they just started, apparently, because Wyatt Chang slipped up and said at some point in an interview that they basically just started development like a few months ago. So it's still in really early development.
Yeah.
Let's move on, because this subject just upsets me.
Michael's getting angry.
Well, one thing that has come out of all this is a lot of funny memes, a lot of funny stories. One that I found particularly interesting, funny, and I can relate to. I'm a little bit angry, a little bit upset about this. Is that there's been no Lost Viking games in 14 years, and Blizzard has not announced a new game yet. I'm outraged.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yup. What do you say to that? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, you Diablo players, you think you have it hard? No, I have it hard. It's a funny article, and I couldn't help but smile a little bit when I read it, because obviously this is a joke, and it's fun. I
Yeah, you
enjoy
got
it.
them in Heroes of the Storm. Alessandro says you got. Do you play them in Heroes of the Storm?
Yeah, you also have Diablo and Heroes of the Storm. So there we go. Problem
Whoa.
solved.
I think that's a good point though, because if you're not like fully invested in the whole Blizzard ecosystem like we kind of are, and you're more focused on just one game, I think the flaws do stick out like way more, right? Because you're just
Yeah.
and like if you I almost look at Blizzard as just one package now. I'm like, oh, Heroes of the Storm connects in here, and it's like yeah, I can see how. I'm sorry, I'm going backwards into the conversation. I did before. Yeah, Lost Vikings. I think we would love to see that back, right? But how would they do that? Because it's just like a basic platformer game.
Which one?
Remastered HD version. Lost Vikings.
It's actually, I think it's more of a puzzle platformer.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's
actually really
similar
big
to-
on puzzles.
Similar to Trine. if you
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
played
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to that.
So you're
except I think
saying
it's just a one player. I don't think you're gonna. I don't quote me on this because I'm not completely sure. It's a long time since I played it, like 14 years. But I think it's just a solo game. I don't think you can multiplayer it. But it's similar to Trine. You have 3 characters, and you need. Yeah, it's a puzzle.
Sounds like it would
so-
make a good mobile game, Marty. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Put it out on mobile, and I will not play it. Well, it's a puzzle game, so maybe I would actually. I play a lot of puzzle games. Well, not a lot, but when I play mobile games, it's puzzle games. So yeah, that's that. But anyway, let's jump a little bit to Diablo 3. Let's jump a little bit backwards because I think what has happened, and I know that's sort of, I guess it's sort of like what happened a little bit to me is that I don't know who wrote this in the show notes, but I agree with it. That the fallout from BlizzCon regarding Diablo Immortal has created a weird desire to appreciate what we have in Diablo 3. And I have jumped back in. I've actually, in the beginning, I just jumped back in on my normal character, non-seasoned character, just to try it out. And it felt really good, just eradicating demons. And then I was like, hey, maybe I should jump into a season. And I did, and I leveled up. And now I am still in the progress of gearing up, but I have completed like 3/4 of the season journey. So yeah, I've jumped back in. I've had a little bit of fun.
Nice. I know that I was messaging you guys when I jumped on it because I jumped on it right away. I think after the Diablo Immortal announcement, I started playing it again like pretty soon after that. It wasn't simply because I was just like, oh my god, they announced that, now I have to go play this. It was more of like, okay, so I'm not really going to get my Diablo fix anytime soon. So I started playing Diablo 2 and Diablo 3 simultaneously.
At the same time?
Yes.
Like
same
I
time.
got 2 screens, 1 mouse, just kind of controlling the whole thing through it.
That sounds like a really bad porno. 2 screens, 1 mouse.
Let's not go there. But I was playing both games because in doing
That
some
Florida
research,
sun was not good for you.
That was not.
in doing some research about like the state of the climate of Blizzard stuff, I was looking at different videos of different people, and some people are obviously, one video that I turned off like almost immediately was simply bashing it because it looked like Diablo 3, and everyone hates Diablo 3 and only loves Diablo 2, according to that person. So that video got immediately closed just because I don't subscribe to that theory. But anyway, I just wanted to play Diablo, and I guess I was looking for maybe some comfort from Blizzard itself, in that despite how many people did not like this game, I like this game and it feels good to play. So maybe that will translate over because it is still a quality product and I enjoy it, regardless of whether or not you like the changes that were made from Diablo 2. That's something separate. Like, that's perfectly valid, and you can appreciate games. Like, you can appreciate an older game versus its sequels. Like, that's perfectly fine. But to completely dismiss somebody else's opinion because they enjoy something that you don't,
Then
That's-
you're clearly wrong.
I wouldn't say that they're completely wrong. It's just that they're going about it like
you are
the wrong way.
clearly
Yes, like the Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
We need to
right?
get Mike on ice. We need to get Mike on an ice bucket today. He needs to cool down. He's hot. He's hot. and not in that kind of way. Sorry.
I don't know. It's just like this negativity breeds more negativity.
Yeah,
And
it's true.
I
It's
just
true.
wanted to have fun, and guess what? I jumped into Diablo 3 and I had fun. I was messaging you guys like, hey, guess what? I'm leveling Diablo 3, taking pictures, putting it in the Discord. Like, hey, I'm having
No,
fun.
no, stop it.
And then who was
Stop
I
doing
playing
that.
with? Who was I playing with the other day? I was playing with Tom and Dusty. Both power leveled them up. I don't know if Tom was having fun, but I know Dusty was starting to catch the itch.
I wouldn't say I was playing. I was merely just like I wanted
Looting.
to chat to these guys. So I was like, yeah, I'll just install it, and then I'll just idle behind you guys. And
Tom's
that's
phrase that he used the most was, "Oh, I'm dead."
oh, I'm dead. Yeah. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'm dead. To be honest, I say that a lot, even when I'm trying to play the game normally.
And-
So yeah, actually, just to jump in on that specific moment where you and Dusty were playing, and I've actually been playing a bit of that other bad game now that everyone plays because.
No, go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
So I've been playing a bit of Path of Exile because a lot of people were talking about it and all that jazz. I've been enjoying it. It's definitely rough around the edges, but gives me that kind of old RPG feel. Got really limited inventory, and you get like little gems, and there's a big skill tree. It's like, whoa, this is pretty overwhelming. But one thing I was like, you know what? There's a lot of people talking about, oh, you need this build, you need to. It's like, no, I'll just go in, and I'll just play it my own way. I don't really care about what's optimal or anything. I'll just go in that whole like Diablo 2 where you picked a talent and you could never change it again. You're like, oh no. But no, I was really enjoying it. But then when I jumped into Diablo 3 with Michael, I was like, whoa, this is so smooth and so slick, and just the colors are like. So I'm like, if Path of Exile was playing like this,
Yeah.
like Blizzard would be in big trouble. Like Blizzard really would be in big trouble.
I played Path of Exile as well, and I felt, because I think I've played Diablo 3 more recently than you, Tom. So I was like, oh my god, this is so clunky. This is so. I really didn't enjoy Path of Exile. I uninstalled it after that PlayStation, and having looked back at it. I also did jump back into Torchlight. Torchlight 2, which is actually like ex Blizzard employees, or some old Blizzard North guys who have created that, and yeah, it's you can definitely see that it has a few years behind it right now, but it plays as smooth as Diablo 3, I find, but because it's old, I feel like I'm really close to the action. I think I would love it to be able to zoom a bit more out and stuff like that. It feels like it's a few years old, but it plays really well. And actually, I found out, just a side note, there's a new one of those coming out very soon.
An MMO, right?
Yeah, an MMO-ish sort of. I think like there were some rumors that Diablo wanted to go that route as well. So, we'll
I mean, that's a positive from this, though, right? Even though, like, everything through Diablo announcements has been perceived quite negatively. If you go into a position where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna go check out some other games, then I'm gonna go and see what else is. That's a good thing, because sometimes we can just get so closed up in a ways of like, yeah, this is the only RPG, this is the only MMO I want to play, and sometimes just broadening your horizon and checking something else that you go, well, actually this game does this aspect really well, but I see in like World of Warcraft or Diablo that they do this a bit better, and I don't know, I'm being rational.
You're being rational.
Sorry.
And then I need more. I need more launchers to be able to do that.
No, like we need those other games. We need those other games. I'm happy that Path of Exile does so well because I'm hoping that Blizzard takes notice of it, because competition brings better quality overall. World of Warcraft has like no competition in the MMO market, so it can just keep doing the things that it does without
That's
any
wrong.
worry.
I think you're wrong with that.
You do?
Though.
You think that
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14 and Elder Scrolls are up there with it?
I think
Final
Final
14
Fantasy
had more. Final 14 had more subscribers than WoW at some point.
Final Fantasy 14
I
is
heard.
definitely
You
still
heard?
like punching its weight. I mean, it's the only other real subscription-based MMO. Elder Scrolls and others generally have like something you can subscribe to, but the base game you just buy it and you play it. But I definitely wouldn't say that Warcraft is running away with it these days. And yeah, I would say like Elder Scrolls Online, it would be up there as well. I'm not saying it's surpassing any of those, but it's definitely something that's on the radar. It's not one of those games anymore. I think it's just like, no, we're gonna dismiss that. And you know, there's some pretty good alternatives out there, and they all do little things. Final Fantasy 14 actually just announced a new expansion as well, so it's still.
Oh yeah, like I'm not denying that they're their things. I just think that, and I'm basing this off of like, if I play those games, what do I see? Because I do dabble in them from time to time, and then also the reach that it has in terms of when I go on like Twitch or something like that, how many videos am I seeing, or how many streamers am I seeing?
Oh yeah, you
playing?
just gotta look how many is on the subreddits, right? So this will give us a scientific.
Yeah.
Here we go, right? So on the Reddit for WoW, we have 8.9 thousand online right now, and let's see for Final Fantasy 14.
That's all.
This is gonna call it. This is gonna decide who is the greatest right now. And they have so they got 5.1 thousand online right now. So yeah, WoW still in first place. I guess we should look at Elder Scrolls Online just to keep this.
I don't know what this has devolved into, but
I don't know. This is one of those episodes we'll look back and go.
That was a good episode.
That was a good one. That was that was what we hope to achieve when we start podcasting, was a quality episode like that. I'm Elder Scrolls Online 1.1 thousand online right now. So okay, so
Reddit proved my point.
Reddit proved your point there.
That's the first time that me and Reddit have kind of been on the same wavelength. But no, yes, it's a moment. But no, I was just saying it based on I do think that we need more competition for Blizzard in multiple different areas. I like that there's multiple different card games going on out there to battle Hearthstone. I like that there are these ARPG games that are trying to vie for that spot, especially now that the Diablo thing has happened. A lot of these ARPGs are probably seeing that as an opportunity to kind of burst through the door and get their name heard, and hopefully they do.
I know Path of Exiles did a lot with that, right? I mean, just their announcement, was it new?
Yes, the new, yeah.
Where they said something about in the trailer that they claim that they are immortal. We will prove them wrong, or something like that, along those lines. I just love that. That was.
To be fair, the developers did come out and say that was actually exactly how it was supposed to go from the beginning. It just happened to be a coincidence because they were gearing this.
That's an amazing coincidence, though.
We're not denying that, but they had definitely said that the reason why they had said something like that was because they were gearing this next Path of Exile expansion to go up against a Diablo 4 announcement. So that's kind of why it planned out that way. The verbiage is definitely very on point, but I saw the video and I was like, oh, that's a shot right there. But I don't know. I like healthy competition between companies. Like when I forgot what it was around the time where we were on Argus and Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft Twitters were kind of jabbing at each other like, brought
that was fun.
You brought this, that's cute. We brought that, and it just kept going back and forth. Like I like seeing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Most definitely. What was the MMO called? Was it Terra, Terraria?
Terra.
There's the Terra, yeah. Terra and Wildstar. Did you guys know that those were actually ex-Blizzard employees who were among the people to create those?
I knew that for Wildstar,
but
which
also Terra,
which is closing its doors.
Yeah, they're closing down.
I watched a video that showed a history of developers that left Blizzard and went on to do their own thing. Aside from Path of Exile and the Torchlight crew, they have not had much success.
No.
When you look at it, David Brevik, one of the creators behind Diablo 2, he went to do the Marvel one. What was that Marvel ARPG one where you got to choose a different hero?
That was quite good, actually.
Yeah, it did, but it closed its doors.
It was Marvel 20. It ended up being, when they relaunched it was just Marvel 2017 or something, or 2016. I think it was just a year after. It was just kind of lame.
Yeah, it was something, but it was a fun game. I played it, but
yeah,
it's really weird. So,
I was looking for that one fairly recently, actually. I was like, oh, it's gone.
I'm going to ask a question to the chat because Alessandro says the Dota folks are moderately successful. Were the Dota folks actually Blizzard employees, or were they people that created it in the engine, like of Warcraft 3? Like that's what I was under the assumption of. I don't know if it was actual Blizzard employees.
I was Riker who did a video thing where he went through all the ex-employees, and Dota was not among that list as far as I remember. But I mean, maybe he missed some. I don't know.
It happens, but for some reason I thought I remembered like Dota stemmed from the engine and creators using the engine itself rather than employees. And she said true, not actual employees. So yeah.
Yeah, because Dota was made in the Warcraft 3 editor, I think.
Yeah.
Dota was made in that.
The original Defense of the Ancients.
Originally. Yeah. And then it became its own game later on. All right. Also, World of Warcraft, 14 years now.
Oh.
14 years old.
Oh, yes.
It's time for that confirmation. I don't know when you do that over there, but in Denmark, when you turn 14, then it's time for your confirmation to confirm that you believe in God. So.
What?
Yeah.
You had 14 years to think about it. Now's your chance.
Exactly. So Blizzard believes in the old gods, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, but I don't get it because this isn't this expansion has nothing to do with old gods, so that's not really.
That is true. So, but anyway, 14 years, man. Tom, we have known each other for 14 years then. Very soon.
I can't believe that. Don't ever meet people off the internet. It doesn't end well. Don't do that.
Oh man, look what it turned into. Podcast.
Hey, I disagree. Okay. last weekend I actually met my first friends from game. So there were some guildies.
Oh, nice.
And I actually met them because they live in the area. Me and Selena went out to lunch with them.
How'd it go?
It went really well. We had lunch. They brought me some swag. They were at BlizzCon and we bought some like Funko Pops off of them, and they gave us this huge Overwatch bag that was pretty darn cool.
Are you planning to start a podcast together?
Not at the moment, but these things sometimes take a few years to get going.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of meeting people online, I met a gnome last week.
Oh!
I met Frasley from...
I like it!
I met our good friend Frasley from Frazzlecast and the Frasley Report, which we'll play at the end of this episode.
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, Marty, get that ready. So I was road tripping with my girlfriend Amanda, who's in the chat right now. Follow my crab.
Hey, Amanda.
And when I say we drove down, Amanda drove the whole way. But we stopped off in Dublin, Ohio, just so I could see if it was like Dublin, Ireland. It wasn't. And I and Frasley met up. Amanda was there too, and we had a Starbucks, or as we like to call it, Buck Stars. And we sat and we talked. We traded some Pokemon, and it was that guy. Why do people who play gnomes in World of Warcraft? Why are they so tall?
He's freaking tall. He's not a gnome. When I saw the picture you took, I don't know where we posted it. I don't remember. I was like, what the hell? That guy's huge. Because I mean, I know how tall you are, Tom. We are roughly the same.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We are. And then I was like, wow, okay. So and our good friend, we have a good friend called Dennis. He's from Rotterdam. He's Dutch, and he always played a gnome, and he's tall as well.
It just gives you this. I don't know. It's a weird perception thing, isn't it? That you're so used to their character being a gnome that for some reason in your brain you're like, they're a gnome in real life. They're a gnome in real life. They're a gnome in real life. Then you see them like, whoa, you're a really tall person. That's okay too.
I'm pretty much a dwarf in real life, just like my character.
That's why you played dwarves.
Yes. So did you guys actually meet in Wrath, or did you meet like before then?
Sorry, who are we talking about? Me and
you and Marty. Yeah, because you guys said that
we met
back in the day.
Vanilla, baby.
Oh.
Back when it was plain, back when
No
PvP
were no flavors.
There was no PvP system. There was soul shards. You actually had to put effort into the game to succeed. That's when we met, Michael.
Yeah.
That's when
I'm sorry.
Nowadays it's so easy to meet. Nowadays it's so easy to meet. So.
Yeah, so wow. It does every time the anniversary pops up, and I think because we just have BlizzCon, and that's usually a great time for the community to bond. You're just kind of in this
Usually.
nostalgic headspace, and with WoW Classic coming out as well, it's just you're just thinking of the past and missing the past and wishing we were back 14 years ago, right, Marty? Just when times were simpler.
Yeah.
And it was
There was no Diablo Immortals back then. We didn't have phones.
we didn't have phones. We just sorry, Michael.
I don't know why you're apologizing. I enjoy having a phone. You make it seem like I want to go back to a time where I didn't have a phone. No, I'm not one of those people.
So,
Do you want to talk about what's happening
yeah.
in the event? The 14
Yeah,
years?
let's do that. Let's do that. Do you know? Have you investigated?
Oh, you get an achievement. Dun, dun, dun. Well, actually, I went back and checked to see if I had got every single login during the anniversary, and I had, because I think they started it after 3 years or 4 years of WoW, because the achievement system didn't come in until late Burning Crusade,
Right before Wrath.
right before Wrath, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're missing like 1, 2, and 3, don't worry, because you could never get them. And I think if we wanted to complain about
But
something,
I have them. I made them myself.
I feel like if you have every one of those achievements at 20 years, you should get a statue. I want a statue. Give me a statue for logging
Of your
in
character? Of
one
your own
day.
character?
Yeah, of your own character, for logging in for 20 years.
I'm gonna
On one
email
day.
them and tell them that at the 14-year mark, Tom was unsubbed at that time.
But see, you log in on your trial, your bank alt, and just get the achievement. I think I've done that for the past 4 years. Just bank alt gets the achievement. You can't open the mail though.
But Don't you have to do
can't
a
open
quest? I think you have to do a quest this time around.
No.
Do they still give the XP bonus? Because
Yeah, they do. I
yeah,
think
because then it's probably a
percentage
good
based off the year,
it's
right? So
14
this year
years. Yeah, it's 14
14%.
years. Yeah, 14%. It's 14 years worth of XP right there.
No, there is a quest that goes along with it.
In mind that is actually if you're leveling, for instance, at your allied races, then it's a good time to jump back in, I guess.
Yeah.
14% extra XP.
And you get a care package. Talk about the care package. That's really important too.
Okay, is it? I don't know what it is. I'm not
Is it?
prepared. I just came in the door like 40 minutes ago.
Dude,
So you've had enough time to get ready. Come on now.
I love.
You get a
just-
letter in the package.
Oh yeah, because you don't have a phone. You don't have a phone.
I don't have
so
a phone. Yeah,
So you can
I
look at it
couldn't
while
check
you
it.
were outside of the house. So
I was busy sitting there with my Game Boy.
Marty, classic bosses are back. Do you remember world bosses back in vanilla Warcraft? We had Lord Kazzak, we had Azuragos, and we had the dragons of the 4 dragons of Nightmare as well, which they're back up, and you can kill them for time warped badges. I have fond memories of Lord Kazzak, the Kazzak attack, back in the day, where there was maybe a big group of horde in the blasted lands. Usually he spawned kind of near the dark portal, and you had the horde. Well, I think I was horde at the time, so we had the alliance raid. They were all getting ready to attack him, and as soon as they engaged, the horde would come in and throw a few punches to potentially hinder their
Snipe it.
attempt. And apparently that was against the TOCs, like the in-game stuff, because it was classed as griefing, and because so that was a weird time. There was like these standoffs for who would engage a world boss. For some people even pulled the Lord Kazzak back to Stormwind.
I remember that.
I was about to
I
ask
remember
about
when they-
that because I wasn't
Yeah,
around
they
for
kited-
it.
Yeah, when they kited Lord Kazzak to Stormwind, the Stormwind gates, and the guards took over, and he just attacked the city instead. That was amazing.
Yeah, and I think he, after a certain period, he goes into rage mode. So I think a lot of times, once he got kited back to Stormwind, he would end up just doing too much damage. That a GM would have to come in and just despawn him, because he was unkillable. But I don't think you can really do that with mobs anymore. You can't, as long as because back in Classic you could, for example, Michael, a hunter would have aspect of the cheetah on. They'd be running, they'd do the jump and shoot and keep running, and they do that every couple of seconds just to kind of refresh the kind of threat. And it would just get to the point where he wouldn't reset, so he would, he'd just keep running after you. You could take him wherever you want. Some
Yeah,
people
now
would-
you can't do that because the mobs will
You
stop
can't do that.
chasing you after a certain point.
Yeah, that, destroyers are fun and all that, but maybe they've turned it off for this event. You can bring it back to Stormwind, where he will rightfully take up his throne as King of Stormwind.
All right. We are talking nostalgia. So I was thinking that maybe we should also talk about the little email that we got.
All right.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to finish up with the
No.
14 years event and saying, in addition to all the items that you will be able to purchase during this event, there's a new toy, which is the Overtune Corgi goggles, and it changes how you see the world around you. So when you use this toy, friendly NPCs will appear to be such good boys and girls all year round. I don't know what the hell that means, and I just read it off the site, and it sounds a bit weird.
Read it?
I'm pretty sure
What?
I have an idea of what it means.
Oh, they look like corgis. Yeah, that's what they meant. Everyone will look like corgis. It just sounded weird. Everyone will look to appear to be such good boys and girls all year round. I was like, what? What? I don't know who wrote that post.
All right,
That's
let's
a bit
move
weird.
on. Let's move on.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia. We have an email from Olisand, who's also in the chat right now, I think. She was there early at least. It's been 10 years since Wrath. Few podcasts still exist to let us go back and relive it secondhand. So what quest did you like? What funny little things happened? What sticks after so long? Not the big obvious stuff like Wrathgate, ICC, Ulduar, and the music. We can all agree there, I think. And no, we cannot. I don't like Ulduar.
Get out.
There we go. I set the stage.
Why do you have to
Anyway.
make this negative? Come on.
Well, she said don't
So,
discuss it anyway. Discuss something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, something. What Tom in Wrath? What did you like? Something funny, something that stuck around with you. That's not any of them mentioned.
Ooh, I don't know, something funny, but I remember just being in kind of awe of the starting zones, riding into. Oh my goodness, starting zone that's not Born Tundra, the other one. How have I forgot this?
I don't remember because I
Oh.
started in Bavarian Thundra. So
Take over, Marty. Take over. I need to find this out.
I mean, I think Wrath of the Lich King is special to me from a rating point of view, because we had a guild that had to wind down early in the Burning Crusade. A lot of stuff happened, and I took me and a few others took over leadership of the guild. A lot of people in the guild said, "Well, this guild is done. We are." Never going to survive this, and I was like, yes, we will. We'll continue in Wrath of the Lich King, and I think we were still it was the second expansion. We were still really young and didn't know how things work out when new expansions come around and things like that. So so I think it was very natural for a lot of people being very negative about what was going to happen. But anyway, we took over leadership. Tom helped me out along with a few other people, and we went into Wrath of the Lich King, started raiding, and we continued all the way through the expansion in different setups. We started with just a 10-man raiding guild. We actually got enough to do 25 man. I think it was 25 back then. And then we later on went back to we scaled it back to 10 man again, and we actually cleared everything, every boss. We spent like 2 months just on killing the Lich King, but we did it in the end. And just I have so good experiences, and it felt so good to turn the ship around, from having people saying that this will never happen, and then actually get in there, kill everything, and have a really good time. So I think that's probably my biggest memory from Wrath of the Lich King.
Yeah, that was definitely a pinnacle kind of time for me as well. Just Howling Fjord. How could I?
Howling Fjord, oh yeah.
Yeah, how could I forget? So I remember rolling into there. It's pretty. I won't talk about the music because we're not allowed to talk about that. But going in there, and there's kind of a quest hub to do with, it's like pirates, and there's a couple of little like small islands. I think there's like the, what are they called? Why am I forgetting stuff? The like
Are you
seal
turning
guy.
into me?
I'm turning to you. The seal guys, the fishing guys, the Tuskar
Tuskar.
guys. And there's just kind of a collective group of islands, and you end up on these. I just remember doing those quests. Start with one of our friends, Andy, and we were doing it for about 2-3 hours, and it felt like we were so far away from like the kind of main piece of land, like the main base camp. And I don't know, the perspective when you don't have flying, and you go through like some quests, and you end up in like little caves, and I don't know. I just remember being like, oh wow, this like, where are we? We've been on these boats, and we've been like interacting with pirates, and we've been in these caves, and I didn't really know where I was, even though I could just like look at the map. But it just felt so grand and so epic, and it was like this, what's it called? Like a chair lift, like a lift that connected like up high, and you were like really, I just did so grand and so epic, and I just have fond memories of it. Was just like an evening we started doing the quest around there, but it's that kind of magical new expansion time. And I could talk about, you know, all the times where the Lich King pops up, and there's a specific quest where you do quests for the is it Drakuru, one of the trolls in one of the zones, where he's like a Death Knight kind of troll, and you're doing like really shady it's so good. Good times.
Yeah, I really liked how they did the whole story as well, and that technically we lost the whole battle in the end, and I really enjoyed how they did it. A lot of people thought that it was a bad thing that the Lich King came around. He came to you so many times while you were questing and taunting you and things like that. And I thought that was brilliant. I really loved it. I loved that he was such a big presence. I feel like Blizzard listened too much to all the naysayers, because when we then came to Cataclysm later on, we barely saw Deathwing, who I perceive as an even like bigger thing than
Literally,
Lich King.
he is bigger.
Yeah. Because of the books that I read and stuff like that. So yeah, I really loved Wrath. I feel like it's probably still to this day the best expansion I feel like that Blizzard has ever made for World of Warcraft.
I have an outsider's perspective on Wrath of the Lich King, and it was a bit of an upsetting one, mainly because I was an avid Warcraft 3 player. I really enjoyed playing the RTS and playing the story mode and going through that. And I remember I wasn't playing World of Warcraft then. I still wasn't doing that. And to have the story culmination from Warcraft 3 happen in a game that was like not one that I could simply just like buy and play was very upsetting to me, that I wasn't able to see the story like firsthand, because I didn't have World of Warcraft, I wasn't playing it, and I wanted to be able to play it, but I couldn't at the time. So from the outside,
don't you guys have PCs?
No, actually I didn't at that time.
That's what they said to you.
Nobody said that. Okay. But no, it was really upsetting, and then later on I finally got to like watch the videos and actually play through it myself much later on. But
have you done the quest? There's a quest I specifically remember where you play as Arthas and you fight against Illidan. There's a quest where it's like a flashback, and it's in Icecrown.
Okay, so I don't think I did that quest, but it sounds like it's like a flashback to the Warcraft 3 moment. Okay.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I can't wait to see that scene in Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Yes.
Like, that's going to be awesome. But from the outside looking in at the time, I was a little bit upset that everyone else got to play it and I wasn't able to. And then when I finally got to do it, I one-shot Arthas, just saying, you know. All the trouble you had 2 months, one-shot, baby. Yeah. Boom. Hammer to the face.
Yeah.
Judgment.
Icecrown is one of, that's the achievements where, like, the Lore Master achievement. The one achievement that I don't have for Wrath of the Lich King is the Lore Master for Icecrown.
Oh my god! Have you got your finger on the on the shock sounder? Like
So-
I feel like
Yeah, I've actually the quest that you're talking about, Tommy. I know we've talked about it before. I don't know if you remember, but I've actually never played that quest.
you think you know somebody. you think after 14 years, you think you know somebody,
But
and
you
then they
really
go and
don't.
say I haven't even played Ice Crown. It's like, what? It's like the
No.
pinnacle place where
Wait,
you.
no, I've played it. I never finished it. I never
I mean,
finished
you might as well have not played it. If you're not gonna finish, you might as well not even show up. You know what I'm saying?
Still in the
Are
quest
you-
log.
I'm sending you homework. I'm sending you homework. You don't need to complain. There's nothing to do in Warcraft anymore, Marty. You've got things to do. You've been slacking.
All right. I guess that I have stuff to do, so let's end the show and get the hell out of here then.
Jeez.
Last orders! Last orders!
Just want to say thank you to Alexander for sending that email in as well, because Marty forgot to, because he's very rude.
Thank you so much for the email, and thank you so much for listening, watching, whatever you're doing. It's and Tom, nice to have you back.
Oh yes, good to be back. Good to be back.
It's been a while, but yeah, very good. I also know that at the same time as this podcast will hit your ears, at least if you're not watching it live, this will also be out, and I know that you guys talked about stuff. I wasn't there, so I don't know what you talked about. Can you
Oh,
hint?
it was a great episode where we talked about video games, and especially ones that are coming out very soon, and why we might
To
be
mobile?
excited.
No.
To not mobile. Actually, we
Okay.
did talk about a mobile game that's coming out very soon, so
Oh,
it's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
definitely
We did.
worth tuning in to finding out what game we could possibly be excited for. And when I say we, I mean just me. So yeah, Nerd This, doing the nerdy things every week. Definitely check us out. We had Ryan with us as well. From
Who?
well, he's a co-host apparently.
He
so
promptly disappeared right afterwards.
yeah.
Stay around, because after the show we have the Freshly report with Freshly, the very tall gnome. Let us know your thoughts about anything we talked about on this episode, or if you have your own questions, feel free to contact us. Tom, how do people do that?
You can email the show at thebluereclusepodcast@gmail.com, just like Alessandro did. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at The Blue Recluse. Come on over to thebluerecluse.eu/Discord, where we're not talking too much these days. I think everyone's got like the BlizzCon hangover, but you know, it will pick up again. It'll pick up. You can leave us a review on iTunes. You can support the show over at patreon.com/The Blue Recluse. And you can find all that information, including our show notes for this episode and more, on our website, thebluerecluse.eu or thebluerecluse.com.
And with those words, ladies and gentlemen, and Freshly, take it over.
Welcome to the Fraz Report, a short news report by me, the Awesome Gnome, about the World of Warcraft. So recently, a young little purple dragon has been causing rampage at Galluix's Pleasure Palace. This dragon goes by the name of Pyro, and has been attacking innocent goblins who are only looking to have some fun. Galluix thankfully is nowhere to be seen. As my sources say, Jackster has a crystal of azurite adorning their cane, and Pyro is looking to collect as many crystals as possible. Everyone is urged to stay away from the Pleasure Palace until further notice. There are quite a few other resorts across Azeroth. The one on the Broken Shore is still being built, and Rizak, who is a semi-regular correspondent of the Halfway Report, is building one as well. Now what's interesting about this is Spyro the Dragon just came out on Xbox and PS4, and I tried to load it, except it kept giving me an error that data was missing. There's probably no correlation. Hopefully the developers of that game patch it in soon. It looks like a fun game. I remember a lot from my childhood. Well, guess I'll go back to World Quest and Lego City Undercover for now. Well, that has been the Fraz Report. Until next time, be awesome.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.